Right. Oh, look, we're already to ahas. Oh, we went way back. It's a preview of what we're going to go over. All right. I'm Susie. So I know most of you guys already, which is fun for me. So interact, right? It's funner if everybody participates. We're going to be going over growing your database, so building your contacts and how to do that, why you want to do that, what that looks like, who that is, and kind of different goals for that. So what we're doing, I guess first we're kind of laughing. I'm like, is it database or database? Does either word rub somebody the wrong way? I'll make sure I say it all the time, or not that one. So the goals to, we're going to grow our database. So our contacts. So you guys have been working with leads and building up leads. Any questions from like last class or anything that's happened between that anybody has that you want to go over before we get started?
I've been doing a lot of cards because I'm getting married next month.
Uh-huh.
I'm sending out cards to a lot of people, and it is amazing how many people like love to get cards. Even if you just say, "Hey, I was thinking about you, love Alex." People like send emails and text back to just, "Hey, I got your card. I was so excited to hear about whatever it was."
Yeah.
That's an underutilized resource.
Yes, I think so too. Cards, like people do love to get cards, and nobody gets regular mail anymore. Nobody, everybody's just texting, or so regular cards are something that people don't get that they love to get, especially if it's like that. If it's just a hello, or I was thinking about you, or something like that is something that people just don't get anymore that they love. We were laughing one day, talking about handwritten cards. I'm like, I never get them. I'm going to send myself a card. So can I get one? It'd be awesome card. So definitely do that. And as you're building out that wedding list, like add it. Hopefully you're adding it to Daddy. Yes. So we're going to cover today, like the smart data bank, building your database, feeding your database, communicating with your database, servicing daily success systems. So the key information that you're going to get for your database: names, phone numbers, addresses, categories. So we're going to actually categorize people that we're adding into our database, and then building out your database. So we're kind of the goals that we're going to go through. Anything specific that anybody knows they want to learn today or have questions about today? Something. Let's hear it.
I have an issue building a database. I don't know a lot of people. I'm from a super small town.
Okay.
So like even on my Facebook, all my friends are from down there. And so I don't know anybody up here.
Okay.
So I don't know how to like get a hold of people, or like how do I ask for an address? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So phone number. I can add someone on Facebook.
Yes. That's a great question, because we hear that a lot. If you move into a town or you just don't know people, or you have a lot of people that you know in another state or another city. Where do you from?
I'm from
Moab. Okay, awesome. So close, but not close, right?
Yeah, close but small town.
Okay. Yes. No, that is a great question. And we'll actually go over that. And if you have a small database, don't worry. Like when I started, I had a total of 25 people, and that's probably exaggerating by about 5. And when I start, everybody else is like, oh, I have 700, I have 350, I have, you know, and they're like, Susie, what do you have? I'm like, 25. And they're like, oh, you know more people than that. I'm like, no, for real, that's all I know. That's my 25. And so, so you can build it up, and we'll kind of go over different ways to build that up. And it's funny when you ask somebody for their address or phone number, they'll tell it to you. If you're just like, hey, I need to get your phone number or your address, so I can get you in my system, they'll be like, okay, and they'll give it to you. So like just ask, or you can even on Facebook, if you're messaging people, just be like, hey, I want to update my systems. Can I get your address? And they're like, okay, yeah, here. So don't be afraid. And we'll actually go over today how we can help people in other states or other locations too. So we're licensed in Utah. We can sell everywhere in Utah. But through Keller Williams and being a part of Keller Williams, we can actually help people in other locations. So we'll go over some of that today also. So your database is your business. Building up the number of names in it and a relationship with those names is at the very core of what building a real estate business is all about. So we've been working, you're going to get leads, and the leads is just somebody you met. You haven't built a relationship with them yet. So the database are people that you've met, you've talked to, you've had conversations with, and you're building out that relationship. So you're getting to know them a little bit better, so you can service them at a higher level. So if you were at team meeting yesterday, they interviewed people and talked about a higher level of service and being able to help them to a deeper degree, which is what we want, and to build that out, because when you build that out, you're going to have it for long term. So I started 19 years ago with my 25 people. So I'm still here, and I've built that up, you know, over 25 now and stuff, but I built that up. I've got to know people, and the people that I met 19 years ago, I still have in my database, and it's been fun because I've seen them grow in their life. I've seen them have kids. I've seen kids go off to college. I've helped their parents. I've helped their kids, and all the different life things in between. So it's really fun. You get to know people and you build out those relationships and that. So super, super fun. Building it out. So your database is your business, right? The database is, think of it like a big collection box, kind of, right? You're going to start putting in leads. You're going to start having conversation. It holds all of that information in there. Have you guys started on command yet, or got on command? You probably haven't yet. It's not, you're still doing, yeah, you haven't got yours. So command's the database system that we have here. And that's where you're going to put all of your names, all phone numbers, emails, all of that type of stuff. As you're having conversations, you're going to put notes in and write all the notes. So if they tell you their dog's name, put their dog's name in there. If they tell you, hey, I just bought a car, put that information in. Hey, we just got back from a trip, or we're going on a trip to Disneyland, we're taking all the kids, put that in. So then when you talk to them next time, you'll remember, oh yeah, you guys went on a trip. How was your trip? You know, what did you see? Where did you go? Where'd you go again? And you can ask them questions about that and just kind of remember to contact with them. The leads, as you're starting to talk to people, are potential clients, potential contacts. So you're going to get them in. And then again, as you have those one-on-one conversations, you're going to build them up into referrals, and you're going to build them up into your big database system. So it's building those relationships and engaging with people. You guys have probably seen this. So you're getting your lead capture and you're putting them in, you're contacting them, cultivating them, getting all of their information. The main database system is going to be your new leads, repeats, and referrals, right? So your goal is to get in contact with them and get to know them, build up the relationships, and then they're going to be your repeat referral partners. The database, like within command, again, you're going to start adding all of the different areas. You're gonna keep that organized record of what you're talking about, all the communication, follow-up tasks. So if somebody tells you, hey, call me in November, I want to sell in November, you're gonna call them in November. Any goals that you have, you're gonna be able to put in there, any referrals that you're going to have. So referrals, if you know somebody, Idaho, we were talking yesterday, you can call an agent in Idaho, Keller Williams agent in Idaho. Say, hey, I have a client who wants to sell their home. Will you help them? That agent will help them. And you're going to get a good agent to pre-screen. They're going to help them when they're done. They're going to send you part of their referral check. So you're going to get a check in the mail. So we have the ability to help people in other states or other areas that, you know, you were saying Moab, you might not want to drive down to Moab every single day to show a house. But we can find an agent down there that will do that. And so then where you do have contacts down there, you just tell them, hey, let me find you a really good agent that will be able to help you find a house or sell your house. So you're going to put everybody into command. So our first goal, the first law of the database is you're going to build your database. You're going to feed it every day. You're going to communicate with the people, and you're going to service all the leads. So that's our goal. That's the 4 laws of the database system. So that's what we're going to do. Building it. Building your database. To build that, you're going to get their names, phone numbers, emails, addresses. What is some other information that you might want?
Thing for work.
Yes, yeah, what they do for work would be a great one. Because then you're going to know when you talk to them again what they're doing, or they might be a good referral source. So if they're like, hey, I'm a builder, great, I should talk to you more, right? Or I do concrete, great, let's talk. You know, you're going to want to know that type of stuff. Birthdays, maybe, and tell them and wish them a happy birthday. If they're an investor, maybe if they rent. If they're interested in building investment portfolios, you know, so if it's something that they haven't done yet, but they're thinking about doing, who their family is. So in Command, you can actually connect by family. So I have quite a few people that it'll have a name, and then down, if you scroll down a little bit further on the bottom, there's a brother, a sister, a friend, a cousin, a husband, a wife, a grandma, and you can click on it and it will take you to that other person. So you can add family members. They have kids, all of that fun stuff. Any ahas yet at this moment? Yeah.
Relationships.
Yes, yeah, relationships, yeah. Yes, yeah, after you help somebody buy or sell, definitely you're going to keep in contact with them. So one way that we recommend is quarterly phone calls. So you're going to check in on them quarterly and just say, hey, how is the house, right? How is the house going? Do you like it? Is it a good fit? Do you need a plumber? Do you need somebody to do a deck? Like kind of what's happening? And after closing, I always talk to somebody right away. So the day after I'll call like, hey, did you get in? Are you getting stuff moved in? About a week after I'll call back. Are you getting unpacked? You know, how is it going? Do you need anything? And then a month after, and then 3 months after. So you want to make sure that and then I put them on a regular, every like 4 times quarterly, but definitely keep in contact. Otherwise it could just feel like they're a number. And they'll be like, hey, I talk to him every single day, and now he never calls me again. Like I was just a number, right? And you don't want them to feel like a number. You want to like stay in contact with them and how are you? So you want to make sure that you keep in contact with them, and find out. Sometimes it can be a little scary, like, oh, if I call them and they're like, hey, we don't have any keys, or we don't have the garage door openers, or the toilet overflowed or something, you're like, oh, they're going to be mad at me for something. But you need to just call and check on them and find out. So, and some of the stuff, people always forget garage door openers. So you just call the other agent, hey, will you check with your clients? Do they have the garage door openers? Can they drop them off or mail them? Or so you want to make sure that you help follow up with those. So again, we were talking like building it out, the minimum things you want to have, names, contact information, past business records. So another great thing that you can put in is if somebody does buy or sell, especially if they buy, there is next to birthdays, there's a home anniversary. So you want to put that date in, like today's date. Hey, they bought this house today. So then in 3 or 4 years, as I'm making my quarterly phone calls, the home anniversary is going to pop up on my task list and I can call them. Hey, 4 years ago, you bought this house. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Have you outgrown it? Do you need a deck? Do you need a carpet cleaner? It's worth this much today, but it gives me a reason to call, right? And I actually send out anniversary cards. So happy home anniversary. It's been 6 years and stuff. So I'll send out a home anniversary card that they get. So again, you're just going to build out all of those different categories. Remember the Ford method. So family, occupation, recreation, dreams, so as you're talking to them and put those in there. Once you're building out your database, you're going to put in all of that information, and then you're going to put in tags. See where the tags are. That's on the next one, sorry. Azure Learning Hunter has classes on the database that you can jump into. Command also has sections that you can jump on and do an online training. And then on YouTube, there is the 66-day challenge. And the 66-day challenge just steps you through, there are 3 to 5 minute videos, and it will step you through how to add a person, how to add a tag, how to connect them to a family member or a friend or family, how to update your website, how to add all of the information. So it will step you through. You can do one a day or you can do more than one a day, but it's 66 days to get fully trained on Command. Anything mind-blowing that you've learned so far?
That 66-day
Challenge?
going through.
Yes, yes. I think that one is fantastic. When I came over, I jumped on there and just went through, a couple a day. And I loved it because when it got to some of the harder parts, like building out a landing page and stuff, I liked it because I could pause it and I could practice. I could rewind it, I could practice again, and then move on to the next one. So it's definitely, it will step you through super easy, easy learning method. So definitely do the 66-day challenge. So feeding your database, you're going to want to prospect and you're going to want to add every day, right? Try to add somebody each day. So the goal, if you want to make 6 figures, is to get 200 people in your database. So like we were talking, one way you could do that is open houses. So you'll notice on the opportunities page, there's always open house opportunities. And then you get to meet all of the neighbors. So go door to door, meet the neighbors, talk to them. Another system that we have in Command are all of the smart plans. And I think that's a couple slides in, but the smart plans are pre-made marketing that you can send out in different categories. So you'll have one for renters, you'll have one for investors. A really great one is called the Neighborhood Nurture. And the neighborhood nurture, if you have their address, the system will email them monthly what's selling in their neighborhood. People love to get it because everybody loves to know what their house is worth. So they're going to get that every month, and your information is going to be on it every month. So if you're just meeting new people, you'd be like, hey, I have this great system at work that I can put you on. Every month, you're going to be notified of what's selling in your neighborhood. Can I get you set up, or would you like me to set you up on it? They're going to say yes because they're like, well, that's pretty cool, right? I want to know. And then you can ask them, do you know anybody else that might want to be put on it? Your brother, your sister, your mom, anybody else that you know might want to. I'm happy to add them as well. It's easy for me to do that. And then you'll get some extra names also. And then as they're sending them, you can call and talk to them, you know, hey, are you getting those? Do you have any questions? Do you know anybody else that might want to be on it? You can also add any investment properties. So you can add their personal residence. If they have investment properties, they're going to want to add their investment properties because they're going to want to know what's happening on those as well. I have myself set up on those because I can look at my stuff any day, right? You guys can all look at your stuff any day, but it's quick and easy. So I just get my own email. I have all my rental properties on there. I can see what they're doing. I can see what's happening. I can see if something new popped up. There's a couple that we have that if something pops up for sale in the neighborhood, it's like, oh, we want to add in this neighborhood. We'll get that one too. So then you can watch and see what's happening. So neighborhood nurture is a great, great tool for that as well. So that's a good way to feed and add people to that. And you can ask people on Facebook too. Again, they don't have to necessarily be in our area because we can help people in other areas. So anybody in Moab, you can add anybody, North Carolina, you can add anybody, anywhere you can add them. Like, hey, do you want to know the value of your home? And you can add them. Your sphere. So you're going to hear sphere, SOI, is your sphere of influence. So the closest people to you, friends, family, past clients, all of those are your sphere of influence. And that's where you're going to generate and get your largest volume of people. So my 25 people grew, but my 25 people, the first year I was in real estate, it was a good year, like a hopping year and stuff, but I sold 28 homes. So it's a great, so you just keep contacting and not every day like, hey, do you want to buy a house? Hey, do you want to buy a house? You're like, that's not what you're going to do, right? You don't want to do that. But you're going to bring content and you're going to bring value. So, hey, we have first-time home buyer grant program for 30,000. Who do you know that I should talk to? Like, who do you know that would benefit from this? One of the things that I did, I had one client who wanted to get an investment property. So I started previewing around a college and I would just go look at everything new that came on the market. And so after about 3 weeks, I really, really knew values in the area. I found a great house. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's undervalued. It's in great condition. This guy needs this. So I called him. He's like, oh, I'm not quite ready yet. I'm like, oh, but somebody's got to get this house. Like, it's a great value. And so I just called my whole 25 people, like, who wants this house? Who wants this house? One of the people said yes. We got it under contract. So the very next day I called everybody. Hey, thanks for letting me share. I did get it under contract. Somebody picked it up. I'll let you know if I find something else. It built credibility. So immediately they're like, oh, that must have been a good one, right? It's already under contract. Okay, next time when she calls, I'm going to pay attention. So it built credibility, and then I just kept doing that. And then pretty soon friends of friends started being like, hey, talk to Susie, talk to Susie, talk to Susie. And it kind of built that credibility and built that out. So your sphere is going to be your biggest champions and help you build out what you're going for. I feel like this is out of order. Testimonials, referrals. So you're just getting started, but you probably know somebody today that would give you a referral. So somebody that you've done business with in your current job, somebody that would, give you a testimony like, hey, they are very good at what they do. They're sharp, they pay attention. They're going to be great. And you can actually get referrals from them. So it doesn't have to be, hey, they helped me buy a house, but hey, they're very dedicated, they're on top of things, they're going to take care of you. So you can ask people like your friends and your family. You probably know, somebody that can do that today. So think of 2 to 5 people that might be a good referral source and have them go ahead and leave you a review. So again, if you're responsive, they're very good with details, any of those type of things, you're going to want to start getting those reviews. And then definitely as you start helping clients, make sure that you get their reviews. I have one, I bought a domain and it's just love5star.com. And I send that to clients because it just gives them that immediate, they don't have to follow a link to follow a link to follow a link to leave me a review. Because each of those, they're going to be like, oh, I'm not doing this, and they won't do it. But so I just send them the love5star.com and they can leave me immediate review on there. So make it easy for them to do that. And like I said, you probably have 2, 3, 4, or 5 people today that would leave you a review. So think of who those are. And I would challenge you to get those today if you can. Ahas. I'm always like surprised how fast ahas get here. Yeah. Yes.
Well, it's like a big topic of conversation. As we're kind of like trying to like gather business in,
Yes.
can you maybe just walk us through like what that would look like from kind of start to finish, generally speaking? So like, hey, there's an opportunity, when somebody do an open house here.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. So if you get those, when you see those opportunities come through on the open houses, so let's say that I post, hey, I have an open house this weekend, who can do it for me? And you're going to want to say yes on that. Hopefully I post it soon enough that you can print flyers. So you're going to, ask me any questions about the house, like what's really cool, what's really important, what did the sellers love? So those are questions that I've already asked my sellers. And then I can give you that information. Hey, there's a equestrian center a quarter of a mile away. There's a splash pad really close. They love their neighbors. They do barbecues 4 times a year, so I'll give you information like that. But then you can share that information with people as you're doing the open house, or in any marketing materials. I will send you photos, or you can get photos off the MLS to do flyers, to do reels, to do social media content if you're going to post that type of stuff, which I would recommend doing. Prior to the open house. So this is like, hopefully sometimes you'll see them the day before, right? And it's like, okay, I don't have time to go door knocking. But if you have time to go door knocking prior, you're going to want to post, do some flyers and drop them off at the house. So not everybody's going to answer, not everybody's home, but leave it at the house. There's been a couple agents that have left flyers at the houses, and they've gotten calls from people like, hey, is this the price of the house? And they're like, yeah, we didn't know it was so much. Can you come meet with us tomorrow? We're thinking about selling. So you want to make sure that you leave that content for them. Second, as you leave it for them, they might know somebody that wants to buy in the neighborhood, or they might want a second property, or they might be renting. If they're renting and they're like, I love this neighborhood, my landlord, my lease is up, they're going to kick me out in a couple months, maybe I can buy. So you're going to want to, do that.
Just a quick question. What
Yep.
time do you do a knock at? Like, what's the best?
Anytime, anytime. Yeah, anytime. So sometimes you get a lot of people in the mornings that are home, daytime that's home, evenings they're home. So anytime is good. So sometimes people are off to soccer or baseball practice at night, but they're home during the day. So anytime is good. And then leave the flyers, ask them to come to the open house, ask them, hey, if you get an opportunity to talk to them, do you want to be on my neighborhood nurture, right? Do you want to know what's happening in your neighborhood? So as you're door knocking, you can leave a flyer about the open house, but you can also invite them to join your neighborhood nurture to find out what's happening in the neighborhood. So you can add to your database that way. And then of course the open house, the more signs you can put up, the better. So a lot of times you'll see 1 or 2 signs out, but you can miss those really easy. So I did an open house. I had a duplex, and I had another agent do the bottom part. And I'd stuck up a couple signs and we were kind of getting ready. He's like, hey, can I go put out more signs? I'm like, yeah, that'd be great, right? I come out and literally there's 8 signs on the front lawn, open house, and they're all pointing. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it looked like a party. And I'm like, I want to come. I'm like, this is my open house. This is my open, okay. And down the road, like sign. So there's no missing it, right? You just see all these signs. So put tons of signs out, tons of signs so everybody sees it. And then have them come in.
Open signs, like signs that the office has, or is that something we need to purchase?
The office does have some that you can get, and then you can buy them too. So after that day, I went out and bought probably 20 to 30 more, just little, and stuck them up. So then it's just like sign, because it looked like a party and it looked like something fun. So I was like, oh, I want to go check that out. If you don't get a chance to door knock prior, go door knock after. And the agents, like any agents, like on any of my listings, if you're like, hey, Susie, you have this listing, can I go door knock for you, even if we're not doing an open house? Yes, yes. Like it helps my seller, it helps us sell the house, it helps you get new clients. Like you can go door knock the whole neighborhood and meet everybody. So ask agents, that have listings and stuff, hey, can I go door knock your neighborhood, even if you're not doing an open house? And absolutely, because you can add so many people that way. Great, Josh, done. Yeah, follow up after and before, and add them to the neighborhood nurture. Like ask them if you can do that, because they'll say yes.
Like a sign up sheet that will come in, like they sign into the open house.
Yes. Yes, yep. And some of them will be a little hesitant. Then you just tell them, hey, if they drop the price, I can let you know, and stuff. Or if something else comes up in the neighborhood. And then have a list, like pre-check what's selling in the neighborhood. Because sometimes they'll come in and they're like, oh, I don't love this house. They're like, hey, there's 3 more in the neighborhood. Would you like to see them? If you're not working with an agent, let's talk. And then you have information about what else is selling in the neighborhood. So if they're like, oh, this one doesn't have a garage, like, oh, there's actually a couple more in the neighborhood that do have garages. Would you like to go take a look at those and stuff? And then that way you can kind of cultivate or pick up new clients. So, which is the goal, right? Get those. Communicating. So you want to communicate, right? You're not going to get all of these names and then not follow up or not talk to them. There's no point in that, right? If you're not going to communicate with them after you get them in, there's no point to having them in there. So you're going to do communication. To succeed at a high level in real estate, you must commit to frequent contact with the database with the intent of building close relationships. So again, the goal is to communicate with them, and build those out. So communication, like what would be some great tools for communicating? Like what would be a reason you would reach out and communicate with them?
Married.
Yes, getting married. That's a great one. Yes, I'm getting married, right? I'm an agent, right? And one thing too, they're like, hey, I just got my real estate license. I don't know if you already have an agent that you love. If you do, I would love to be your backup agent. If your agent doesn't have the ability to get you another agent in another state, I do. If your agent doesn't have the ability to help you with investment properties, I can. I would just love to be your backup agent if you already have one, if they don't do these type of items, right? And then just kind of, hey, I have a neighborhood nurture. Would you like to be on it, right? Because other people aren't doing that. So they're going to be like, oh, hey, that's kind of cool. Yeah. So you just kind of provide value and then you'll slowly get in if they already have somebody, because a lot of people aren't doing that. Another item of value, right, would be, hey, it's fall. Make sure to unhook your hoses, fertilize, turn your water off, as you're building out the referral network. So he's already contacted people who own businesses. So maybe he has a sprinkler person now. He can let all of his clients know, hey, have you winterized your sprinklers? If not, I have a guy. Would you like his number? Right? And that's a service. So springtime, hey, do you need your lawn aerated? I have a guy. Would you like his number? Fall is coming. I actually notified all of my clients, sent out a newsletter. It's like fall's coming, holidays are coming, family's coming, right? Do you need a carpet cleaner? Do you need a handyman to come touch up stuff? And I sent out a list of preferred vendors for that. So they have those contacts if they need them. So items of value, you're going to want to just communicate and talk to them and stuff. So that gives you a reason to call or reach out. And then they're like, hey, this person's pretty handy. They care, right? Because you do care and you do want to help and you want to make sure that you're conveying that to them. If you're over here with this great list and nobody knows that you have a great list, it doesn't do you any good, right? You just have this great list that's sitting there that nobody knows about. And it's like a little hidden pot of gold that everybody else needs to know about. As you're adding people into your database, so as you're talking to them, they're going to tell you things. So they're going to tell you, hey, I'm renting a house. You're going to want to note that, right? Hey, I have an investment property. A lot of them will tell you, hey, I want an investment property. When you find something good, let me know. Just write it down, investment, right? You don't have to move forward on that yet because that's a whole nother conversation. Well, what type of investment? Do you want a single family? Do you want a duplex? Do you want commercial? Do you want land? Do you want an Airbnb? Like that's a whole nother big conversation. So at the moment, while you're building, just mark them down. They want to invest. Mark them down. They're renting. Mark them down. They're military. Mark them down. They have dogs. They have kids. In Command, there's a thing called tags. And you're going to tag them with these categories. So you're going to tag them as a renter. You're going to tag them as an investor. You're going to tag them as military. The benefit to that is you're going to be able to do direct marketing for those people. So as I send out a mailer, my mailer to my investors looks very different than my mailer to my renters, right? So they're two different completely pieces of marketing material. So you're going to want to mark those differently because as you're communicating to people, you're going to want to communicate to what they want to hear about. So if somebody doesn't have dogs and I'm like, hey, there's this really cool dog park over in this neighborhood, they're like, great, don't care, right? But the dog people care and they're going to want to know about it, right? And so you're going to be able to direct market to those categories of different items, and then you're going to be able to do different items of value. You also can look up specifically. So if I have all of my renters marked and the mortgage company upstairs is like, hey, we have a first-time home buyer grant, 30,000, I immediately thinking, who do I need to call? Who do I need to call? If I have 300 people in my database, how do I find that? My renters, right? If I have them tagged, I can actually click on the tag and it brings up all of the renters. And then I just start calling down the list. Hey, there's a $30,000 grant program. Are you ready to buy? Are you ready to buy? Let's see if you can qualify. And then I'll go through my regular list and see, hey, who do you know that's renting that might need to know about this? So it gives you a very quick access to everybody that you need to know. And then you can direct market to them and make sure that they get notified of what they're doing. Any other categories that you can think about that you might want to tag people in? Agents. Yes, yep, agents. Because you will, like, you'll market, and you'll actually can market to agents as well. So agents in other states, you might want to market to. And there's a system in Command that you can do that. Because you might be, hey, do you have people moving to Utah? I would love to help them, right? So build up the agent to agent referral network. So people in Moab, hey, do you have people moving to Salt Lake? Would love to help them in all those areas, so we can help them in those. Oddly enough too, agents sometimes have people they won't help. So I had an agent who wouldn't help any of his family members. And so he's like, Suzie, will you help my family? I'm like, what? Why aren't you helping your family, right? Like, do I need to know something about your family first? Like, are they crazy? Is that why you're not helping them? And he just didn't want to help them. He's like, they won't listen to me if I tell them what to do because I'm little brother, I'm son, I'm cousin, right? And they know me in a different capacity then, and they're not going to listen to what I tell them to do. So I help all of his family whenever they want to buy or sell. I help his family. So talk to other agents. Or you might have a specialty that they don't. So where I have investors, if you guys ever have super ugly, terrible homes that stink and smell and are gross, come see me. I have a buyer for you, right? So you're going to want to network with other agents and find out kind of what they do, or do they have a specialty? Back when the market collapsed in 07, 08, short sales and foreclosures, I was an agent, and I specialized in short sales and foreclosures. So if you run across somebody who is behind on their payments, their debt, they owe more on their house, come see me, right? Like, so you're going to want to know what other agents do and what they specialize in, because you can actually work more deals that way. So you can connect with them on a different level to sell in other areas. You can connect with them on a level to sell in here. So tag your agents, put agents in and tag them. So, or maybe they're at a different brokerage. Maybe they need to come over here and work with us, right? They're not getting support, or they're not getting training, or they just need to be around more people. I talked to a guy last night, and their brokerage has 2 people in it. And then I have another one who has 3 people, but his brokerage is up in Ogden and he lives in Provo. So it's kind of the connection is missing for him. So add agents, right? Add agents. Any other tags that you can think of that you might want to add?
Tagging, this person I found, they're looking for this, that kind of thing.
Yeah, leads would be good. Vendors, you know who your vendors are. You're gonna want to mark them as a vendor. So maybe you have a divorce attorney. Great connection, because they work with divorces, you know, both sides. A probate attorney. So different attorneys like that are great to have as a connection and as a vendor. All of your repair, your contractors. So put vendors in and tag them as vendors, because then again, you might want to have a get together. Hey, let's get all of our vendors together and introduce everybody together, right? Again, you're going to be the connector. They're going to be like, hey, they're pretty cool, right? They're getting us all together. You're going to build their business, and then they're going to remember you, and they're going to be able to add your business. As vendors also, I've gone out to strip malls and I've walked in and just, hey, can I talk to the owner or manager? And they're like, yeah, what do you want, right? You're like, I'm not complaining. I'm actually here today to see what you need help with. How can I help you? And they're always like, what? I'm like, yeah, what do you need? Are you building a website? Are you trying to repair something? Do you need marketing? And they're like, oh, well, actually, and there's always something that they're working on, but it's so weird because they're like, what do you get out of this? And I'm like, well, actually nothing, but I sell residential real estate. If you ever are selling real estate or know somebody who wants to buy or sell, I would love an opportunity to talk to them. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, here's a website guy, right? Or here's a concrete guy, or here's the person that you need. And then again, put them in your database and follow up. Right? Hey, how did that guy work out? Did you get that concrete fixed? Did you get that? Do you need anything else? How can I help you? And suddenly you're a support system that they don't have. And it's unique because nobody ever asks you, what do you need? How can I help you? Nobody asks you that, right? And so they're always caught super off guard. And then follow up, like you have to follow up. It doesn't, again, do any good if you don't connect them or put them into your database.
Say like, just work with divorce attorneys.
Uh-huh.
Is there, can you give them, like, do they ask for referrals, like a referral fee? They're sending you divorces?
I haven't had any divorce attorneys ask for a referral fee yet. Usually they just like, hey, here's this person they need, you know, they need help and stuff, but
That.
I don't know on attorneys, actually. I'm not sure on that one. That would be a Dean question. We could ask him and find out. I know if it's another agent. So again, like as maybe I have somebody who's getting divorced, but their husband is like, no, you're best friends with Suzie. We're not using her. She'll rip me off, right? then I could refer that to you, and then you could give me a referral, like, hey, here's somebody to help, and then you could give me a referral for that. But I don't know if attorneys can get referrals unless they have a license. They might, but I know they can practice differently. So that would be a dean question for sure that we could find out. But yeah, so those communicating, again, we talked a little bit about this. So as you have them tagged, golf, dog lovers, investors, then you're going to be able to direct market to them and get them the information that they actually are interested in. So a renter is not going to care about it's time to unhook your hoses and, check your rain gutters, right? They don't, because they're like, I don't do that. The landlord does that. I'm not interested in that. So again, make sure that your marketing goes to who wants it and who's interested in it. Again, communicating, high value touches. We talked a little bit about this. So different touches that matter. So birthdays. So again, your four calls a year are some of your touches that you're going to do. One's a birthday, right? Events. We have events all the time. We just had a pumpkin patch event that we all invited people to. So then you can kind of reach out, say, hey, we have a pumpkin patch event. Would you like to come? Or the different loan programs. They're going to want to know about the different loan programs that we have. Marketing stats. Some people love marketing stats. Investors are going to be interested in marketing stats. Seasonal items. So again, like, hey, it's time to close up your sprinkling system or stuff like that. Forecast, like what's coming down the pipeline. A lot of people, and we don't always know, but sometimes we know kind of what's happening, right? Or we know about new developments. Hey, the new development's going in over here, or UDOT is doing a new roadway over here. So who needs to know about those things? Vendor lists. I've sent a list in the springtime. All of the different cities always have free dumpsters, right? So I always pre-check where are those free dumpsters at? And then I send that out to my clients. Hey, everybody in Payson, here's where your free dumpsters are. Everybody in Salt Lake, here's where your free dumpsters are, right? Doesn't cost me anything. They love to know though. It's like, oh yeah, we need that dumpster, and it's a service that I'm providing, right? So stuff like that is easy to do. Property tax, what's happening in the city. So sometimes cities are adding really cool things or taking away cool things. People might want to know about that. So you want to just let them know about those different things. Those are high touch, easy things that you can communicate to clients that they want to know about. And it's going to set you apart again, right? Nobody else is doing that. Your database ends up being a data bank, right? That's, again, your referrals come from there. When you build relationships, you're going to get business, and it's a long term. So again, building out through the years, most of my business now is repeat and referral. So people will call me and repeat referral and stuff. So build it up, communicate, keep in touch, and you're going to get those long-term leads and follow up. Ahas. Maybe there's some good ones. Free dumpsters. That's a favorite one. I gotta say that's a favorite one of everybody's. They're like, yes, the dumpsters, and it's easy, right? Yes, every city has something like that. So you can just jump on the different websites, and they'll tell you, hey, and it's always for spring. So start looking kind of February, and you'll see they'll have it pre-planned out on the dates and stuff. Or even lights, Christmas lights. Hey, this is coming up Christmas time, or hey, this is coming up. They have a November 5K, right? Or something and stuff like that, kind of what's happening in your cities, especially if you focus on a particular city. So if you're really focusing in on one city that you're making your own, those are really big tips that you can do. So, and you could even go, door to door and kind of add that, like, hey, I specialize in the city. Would you like to know what's happening as it's coming up? and then use it as a newsletter, neighborhood nurture, and just kind of add those things so you can do those. Yeah.
So, if we're focusing on like one particular city,
Hmm.
there's certain relationships in the city that you would want to make sure you make
I
with like city council or like anybody like that.
Yes, I would definitely, if you're focusing on a city, build relationships or just once a month go to city council. Be like, hey, what's happening? They'll see you there and they'll be like, hey, that guy's here every month. What is he doing? Talk to the city councilman. Stop into zoning and just be like, hey, what's happening in, where are we building? What new stuff are we doing? Can you show me any of that stuff? They love talking about it. They'll share, all of that information with you. And it's good information to have because then hey, in this area, we're starting a whole new commercial division, like Saratoga. They're doing a whole new commercial downtown area. So that's something good to know about as you have people who are looking, if I have somebody that's looking in Saratoga, I'd be like, hey, they're actually going to be building a whole new downtown shopping center in this area. Oh, that's cool. And she knows stuff, right? I know stuff. And so if you're really focusing in an area, definitely know that type of information or check UDOT site, like what roads are going in where, what do they have pre-forecasted for the future? Because they pre-forecast out, quite a ways and stuff. City council member, like meetings are fun to go to. You hear a lot of interesting stuff, like you hear a lot of fights sometimes and stuff, but they're fun to go to. And if you're going to really focus on an area, it's great information to know. So go definitely build up those relationships. So, and then again, as they see you, and if you're building up those relationships, they're going to eventually be like, hey, I have a friend that needs to sell their house. Would you talk to them? Okay, yeah, I would love to, right? So you kind of come from service and then down the road, you'll get the referrals and stuff because they know that you're there all the time. They know that you're checking and they know that you're invested. And so you're going to be able to help with those. So another thing with the agents that I just thought of too, a lot of new construction agents cannot sell homes. So if somebody comes in to buy a home, one of their builder homes, and they have a house to sell, they can't sell that person's house just because of their brokerage rules and stuff. So they might need a referral partner, somebody to refer a house out to. So if you stop and meet those agents and start talking to them, build a relationship, right? Stop in, build a relationship, talk to them often. Don't just stop in once and be like, hey, if you have anything you need to sell, can you call me? Sure. I don't even know you. You just walked in. I'm not sure, right? They might probably already have a relationship with somebody, but just build that relationship, right? And it's always good to just go do, I still go do field trips and just look at new construction and new inventory and what do you have and what's happening. And because again, then and you can help your clients on a better level too. So,
So the other direction,
mhm.
so like new construction agents aren't allowed to sell random house down the street.
Right.
However, are there situations where we could potentially sell new construction?
Yes. I would again build relationships with the new construction people. A lot of them can sell in different areas, like edge homes. If you meet an edge home agent, they can sell an edge home in Harriman. They can sell an edge home in Bluffdale. They can sell an edge home in Spanish Fork. So if you know one agent and you now have a client, so if I have a client, I'm going to call my edge home agent that I've met and built a relationship with, be like, hey, I have a client who's looking 650 and under, 4-bedroom, single family with a yard. What do you have? And they're going to quickly scan their inventory and they're going to be able to tell me what they have. So then I don't have to drive around to each one. I don't have to call 6 different agents to try to find out that information. And then I can tell them, hey, my client and I are going to come in on Saturday. Will you be there? Yes, I'll be there. Then we just go in, meet the agent. They kind of take over. So they're going to tell all about the community. They're going to tell how long the house takes to build. They're going to give all of that information. because I don't have that information, but they do. And they're gonna help me explain all of that to the client, and that's with any of the builders. So most of them, you want to go in the first time with your client. So I always tell your client, if you want to look at new construction, let's schedule a day and we'll go look at a bunch of new ones. Don't stop in on your own because they won't let me help you after. Some of them are very, very strict on that. If I know the agent really well, though, if I've built that relationship, I can call them and I can pre-register my client. So I can say, hey, Bob Dylan is going to come in Saturday. Hopefully I'll be with him, but if he happens to stop by, will you register him under me and you? And they'll be like, yeah, and they'll get him registered. So if he stops in, then he's registered and linked to me to start with. So build those relationships, but we can sell any new construction.
Question was like, more specifically, like, with, let's say, not edges, the edges of the world, where they have like a ton of sales agents,
Uh-huh.
let's say maybe a smaller construction company.
Yes.
Is there, because I know that there have been agents that like maybe contract with those types of companies to sell their homes
Uh-huh.
and then get the sales commission on the seller's end
Yes.
versus like the buyer's end, potentially.
Oh, so, yes, so building up as, or trying to get a builder as your client. Yes, yes, yep. So, you can stop by like new construction sites, or a house and start, like, see who's there, right? Because a lot of times the builder will be there, or it might just be a crew, but you can find out their number. Like, hey, can I get the builder's number? I would love to give him a call. And then just talk to him and find out, like, what do you do? Do you just do one at a time? Or are you looking for land? Can I help you find land? Do you build 3 at a time? Do you build custom? Do you do semi-custom? If I have a client who wants to build a house custom, what do you do? What are your steps? Like, do I need to find an architect? Do you have an architect? And kind of find out what they do. So again, ask questions. So then they know, like, okay, he's not just here just to like prospect me, right? But you're going to build that relationship. But then you can ask him, right? Like, who do you work with? Do you have a steady agent that you work with, or do you need help? Right. And then just kind of build that, slowly build that. Because some of them might have somebody, or they might have just fired their somebody. They might be looking for somebody. Or, hey, I have somebody, but I would love it if you brought a buyer. Right. And then just stay in contact again, reach out, stay in contact, stay in contact, stay in contact, because things change. So they might have somebody they work with today, but something happens, they get in a big fight, they fire them. Who are they going to think about? You. And why? Because you stayed in contact with them. So, and you would stick them under a tag builder, right? Feed builder tag. Or maybe you're like, hey, how's all your subs working? Do you need a new concrete guy? Do you need a new sheetrock guy? Do you have a plumber? So again, come from contribution, or build out your list of vendors too, that then you can help them with a problem that they have or a solution that they have. So yeah, so definitely add them. They're good. Or as you're going down the street and you see somebody remodeling a house, stop and talk to them, right? Like, how many, are you flipping it? Are you renting it? How many do you do a year? If I can find you one, would you be interested? Right? And then build them up as a contact, start building those. So those are great resources too. All of those. Anybody you see, everybody, right? Everybody goes in our database. Servicing your database. Your job is to build a community and serve the community. So your database, think of it as a community. And how big do you want it, right? That's up to you. Do you want to stay with 25 people? Do you want 750 people in there? How are you going to service your 750 people? Do you have 2,000 people in there? Do you need help? What are those systems going to look like, and how are you going to keep track of all of them and service them? So servicing leads. Why would you want to service a lead? Like, why would you want to talk to them 4 times a year, 36 times a year? Why do you want to give them information?
Thing I keep thinking of is that we're not in the sales business, we're in the relationship business. So even if you're not selling to people, you should be creating relationships, just staying in touch, and being
Yeah.
like a good neighbor to the community.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So we're not just selling, we're building relationships, right? We're helping people with whatever they need help with. Like you're going to run into a lot of really interesting situations. And we have the ability to help people, right? And if we're not doing it, somebody else is going to do it, right? And we want to be the person who does that. We want to build those relationships and help those people. It can be very, very gratifying, very, very gratifying. In command, you're going to have all the different service options, right? So opportunities are future clients or people who are looking to buy or in the process of buying or selling. So you're going to put them in there and you're going to be able to track and keep track of what you're doing. They have checklists, so you're going to be able to have a checklist. So all of your clients get 5-star same service. So part of mine with buyers and sellers, about a week and a half prior to closing, I always send them an email with remember to update all of your addresses, contact your dentist, contact your doctor, contact your vet. And I have a list of people that they need to contact to change their address. Utilities, remember to switch your utilities. I can't tell you how many times before I started doing that, somebody would call like, hey, my power's off. Did you turn it on? Did you switch it over? Was I supposed to? Yes. My own son did that. I want you to know. I'm like, what do you mean you didn't do it? And that's a level of service, right? Because you just forget about it. If you've never done it, even if you've done it, you forget that, hey, I need to turn off service here. Maybe it's a renter and it's the first time they've ever bought a house. I need to turn off my service here, but I need to set it up over here. If they've never done that, they don't know. And we need to remind them. So I actually have a checklist item, and that's one of my checklist items to make sure that I let them know to do that. And then let them know, like, hey, have it broom clean. When you leave, make sure it's broom clean and done. Campaigns, so all kinds of pre-made marketing materials for you. So you don't have to come up with all of your own content if you don't want to. There's pre-made ones nationally. Everybody contributes. So there's going to be smart plans in there. And the smart plans are reminders. So you might have a smart plan to call a person quarterly. So as you're adding them into the database, you're going to add that smart plan, call them quarterly. You're going to make your first phone call today. 3 months from now, that person's going to pop up on your task list to call them again. So you're going to have those. You're going to have different email campaigns, newsletter campaigns. People nationally have compiled them, so you can create your own or you can use somebody else's. So if I have a really cool one that I send to investors, for example, that I'm like, gosh, everybody loves this little campaign that I've made up, I email them this, and then next month I call them and I tell them this, and next month I email them this, and next month I call them and tell them this, and it gets really great success. I'm going to post that nationally, and anybody nationally can use it. So they're going to see it and they're going to be able to download it and use it. So you have the ability to look for specific campaigns for topics. So you might be like, hey, how do I get a builder? How do I get an investor? What type of emails do I send investors? What type of emails do I send renters? And you can actually search for those email campaigns or those systems. You can read through it. If you love it, you keep it. Or you can be like, oh, I would never say that sentence. Take it out and put your sentence in there. So you can use it as a base and change it, or you can create your own. Consumers, you can do all the different websites, landing pages, blog posts, all of that type of stuff that you want to do, you can add in there, and then just kind of keep track and make sure that you service everybody. Technology, again, you can look up specific ways to use, do the 66-day challenge, ask Hunter. Hunter has tech training too, set aside that he'll go over anything that you want to go over. So if you're like, hey, I don't know how to do this spreadsheet, he'll do it. Hey, I don't know how to use my app, he'll do it. I'm not sure how to use command, he'll help you with all of it. Ahas. Yes.
You were talking about like checklists for like new home buyers and things like that.
Uh-huh.
Is there something like that we have access to, like on Google Doc or something like that, that Keller Williams has?
I want to say yes. I think there's one pre-built. We can check and see. I know the transaction coordinators have them. So as you're working with them, they have pre-made ones that they'll send out for you. You'll be CC'd on them so you can see them. Or you can kind of, ask to, like, I can tell you any of the stuff that I do, or, but I know the transaction coordinators do have some that they have that go out. So when you go under contract, they'll send one, hey, congratulations, you're under contract. Our deadlines are this. We're going to do our inspections. Inspections look like this. And so those will go out on there too. So. Usually kind of individually. So it'll be like, hey, congratulations, you're under contract. Here's our deadlines. And then the next one, like you'll reach out and be like, hey, let's schedule our inspections. Or they'll send one out, hey, we need to schedule our inspections. Do you have an inspector? Here's 3 that we recommend. Check on them, get it scheduled, let me know, and we'll go do your inspection. I usually help schedule those because I like to go over with them, hey, we're gonna do an inspection. We're looking for major items. Every house is gonna have little, but we want safety issues. And then we can ask the seller to fix those safety issues. They can say yes, no, or here's $500, you fix it yourself. So I like to kind of step through what that looks like with them. So then they know what we're looking for, and they don't give me a 3-page list like, hey, the light bulb doesn't work. Well, buy your own light bulb, right? So then I kind of prep them for what we're going to be doing. And then the next one will go out, hey, inspections are done. We're going to do appraisal. Here's what that looks like. So they kind of go out in unison. I do have like as I start working with a buyer or seller, I have a booklet that I send out that kind of overviews everything. And then in Command, there are pre-made booklets that you can tweak that have all the overview on them. So, and then you can be like, oh, we don't want this one in there, but I love this one, or, oh, I want to change the wording on this one a little bit, but, so then you can kind of tweak it, and there's a buyer and a seller one, so you can add those. Yeah. Any others?
For the transaction coordinators, can you just briefly go over what that is and if we should be utilizing them and things like that?
Yes, yeah, transaction coordinator, your best friend in life. Bring them donuts, bring them coffee, bring Jeanette loves Monsters, bring her a Monster energy drink. They are everything. So they help you everything paperwork. So in a transaction, you're going to have 8 to 10 people on an easy one, and you need to coordinate everybody. What's happening, the title company, the lender, inspector, appraisal, and make sure that you hit all your deadlines. So they're going to make sure that that happens. Any paperwork. So if you're get a contract, you're under contract, and let's say you missed an initial on the bottom of it, you need to get the initial on the bottom, but the transaction coordinator is going to catch that. They're going to be like, hey, you missed an initial. They're going to send it out to the buyer or seller and say, hey, we missed an initial here. Will you initial this? You'll get CC'd on it so you know what it is. And you're like, oh yeah, we missed that one. They get it back. They're going to immediately send it to whoever needs it. They're going to send it to the title company. They're going to send it to the lender. They're going to send it to the client. So they have a full copy. And then that way you don't have to, because otherwise you have to make sure that you do all of those pieces. So they're there to make sure that all of that happens. So a lot of times you'll be out all day long showing houses, meeting people. You get home 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, and you're like, oh, we missed initials. I've got to do that. Or, oh, I need to get this sent out, or I need to, and you're tired. If you have a transaction coordinator, you get home and you're just going to see a string of emails. Hey, we missed this initial. Will you sign it? Hey, it's back. Hey, title company, here's this initial. Hey, lender, here's this initial. And there's just like a paper trail of accomplished tasks. And so they're there to make sure that all of that stuff gets done. They get paid per transaction. So if it doesn't close, they don't get paid. So they're just great support. With the first 4, they'll help you with your first 4, and you'll get a good feeling of what you need to do that. After that, you can keep them or do it yourself. I would have them, like, for me, I tried once, I'm like, I can do this. How hard could it be, right? Worst 2 months of my life. I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, no, I never do anything without mine, ever, ever, ever. So even my own personal transactions, I'm like, here you go. Like, it's worth, worth what you pay, because they keep you on task and make sure all the deadlines, and they'll remind you, hey, your due diligence is coming up in 3 days. Are you done? Have you guys done inspections? And if you haven't, then you better jump on it, right? Or have you negotiated repairs? If not, you have 3 days to get that done. You better get it done. Mine, I have a listing. It's a new construction. We're still building out on it, but the contract's ending the end of October. And she let me know yesterday, hey, the end of October, your contract, do we want to go ahead and extend that? Yes, right? Like, yes. And it's a month ahead of time. So she's like on top of it. And so otherwise it might expire. I'll be like, oh, I gotta get that, gotta get that done. But they'll help you stay on top of everything. So. Yeah, usually it's best to just work with one, because you get a really good system down on, what they do. So then you know what they do, they know what you expect. You can add or change anything. Like, that's where I added, hey, I want this letter to go out prior to close to remind everybody to get their utilities set up, or to remind them to address change everybody. So then you can kind of tweak and add what you want or don't want in there. So.
Your multiple brokerage.
Uh-huh.
I don't think-
Yes, yep, Jeanette, and then Brittany now will be helping Jeanette, offload that. And then there's a couple other ones, that we have too, so.
Do we just go find them in their office, introduce ourselves? Like,
Uh-huh.
how do we?
Yes, yeah, just stop at Jeanette's office, or Brittany, she's just getting started, because where Jeanette has so many now and stuff, Brittany's gonna be helping, so then Brittany is right by Dean's office. So you can just go say hi and introduce yourself, and then, they'll be helping you with all of the contract stuff and all of the paperwork.
And the pay, that's automatic, does that come out of our commission? That
Comes out of the
separate?
commission, yeah,
Okay, so we
yep.
just sign with them and then
Mhm.
work with them after that.
Yes, yep. And then when you have an offer, they'll actually help you write it up and get it wrote up. Yes, yep, for those ones, for the first 4. And then so for the first 2, they write them up. And then the next 2 you'll write up. And then after that, you'll write all of your own up. So yeah, they're great to have. It's a great resource. Just recapping, the 4 laws of the database. So again, you're going to build it, you're going to feed it, you're going to communicate systematically, service all your leads. So contact them with what they want to know about. Again, your renters don't want to know about investing because they're not there. Your investors don't want to know about renting because they're not. Well, they might want to know about renters, right? They might want to know about them, but so communicate with people. Another great way to get leads is host different events. So you do first-time home buyer seminars, like partner up with a lender. They'll help you do that. I had a client appreciation event. I had a interior decorator come and just talk about interior decorating, right? And I invited all of my clients. And of course, all of them like, bring a friend, right? Everybody. And so everybody was excited. We had lunch. I added, I think, 30 new people to my database, because everybody brought a friend. And so, and then I had a follow-up one the next year that was on decluttering and organization, right? So then I just invited all the same people and told all of them, bring a friend. Like, it's a group activity, right? So that's a great way to add. You can do stuff like that, like seminars or events and stuff that other people want to come to. Investors, you can do investor class and or networking like that with all the vendors and stuff. So, and then you just build out your database that way. Follow the 4 laws, right? Don't get discouraged. Like, just keep doing. It's a long-term game. So, being in it 19 years, like I've done it long term, right? And all my clients are great. We've built up relationships. So, always come from care and service, right? Like we're talking, you're there to help, in any way possible. And being in those situations, you get to hear a lot of stuff that you might not hear otherwise. And then it gives you the opportunity to help them. In a relationship, just like we've been talking, it's a relationship business and like just help people, right? And that's it. If you guys have any more questions, love questions. Are you guys thinking any differently about any of this? Or feel different about any of it? Does it seem easier, harder, more complicated?
This one's always tricky because lead generating is like both the most intimidating and most important part of the job. So it's like there's so much to handle with generating leads and like taking care of them that it's so much to like write down and think about.
Yes, yeah, all of the different things. I try to think about it too. If I had something really cool that I knew about, I would tell my friends, right? If I knew like, hey, they're giving away free steaks at the grocery store, would I sit on that information or would I be like, oh my gosh, go get your steaks, right? I would share. So I always kind of try to think of it that way. We always assume that people know what we know, because we know it. So if I know it, you know it, right? And I don't need to tell you, or you're not going to be interested in it. But people don't know what we know, and they want to know what we know. With all of the NAR changes, I reached out to all my clients. I'm like, hey, what are you guys hearing? You know, what are you hearing? And I had a couple reach out to me, and they're like, what does all this mean? I'm like, first, tell me what you've heard, right? What have you heard? And let's address that first. And then we went into like what the changes were. And we were super lucky in our state. We didn't have a lot of changes, but reach out because they don't know. And what they hear from their neighbor, right? And their neighbor doesn't necessarily know. Their neighbor just knows what they've read on Instagram or what they've heard on the news or what their friend or uncle or coworker has told them, but they don't know. And you know, and we know. And so it's our job to make sure that they have the right information. And so, you know, a lot of conversations are like, oh, I can see where you might think that, you know, or where that could have come about. And can I share with you what I know? Or can I share with you what I'm seeing on a daily basis? And then I was like, well, yeah, what are you seeing? Right. So it's like if you had something really cool, you would share that information with them. So, and they don't know, but we do know. And we need to make sure that we share that with them. So like, don't ever be afraid. Like, it's worse if you don't tell them. If you're sitting there going like, oh, I know the answer, but you don't tell them, that's worse, right? Are there any tools kind of that you know about now that you didn't know about that maybe you're excited to use or implement? Transaction coordinators, yes, they are the best. They are the best. Any new actions?
I've never looked at
That-
that.
Yes, yeah, command is, and I love the 66-day challenge. There's like, go do the 66-day challenge. I think is the best way to just, it's super simple. Like they step it out so simple. It's really, really great. So, and then it gives you all the resources to like, and it will bring up things that you hadn't thought about. It's like, oh, I didn't know we could do that, right? It's on YouTube. So if you just Google 66-day challenge 8.0, and Marty Miller is the guy who teaches it. And he is awesome and amazing. Awesome. So I love it. Referral partners are huge. Like they're huge. Yeah. And they kind of get, if you can build up a top 25, you know, is a great way to just connect and stuff, because they'll give you multiple referrals. And thank people when they give you a referral, right? Like thank them.
That's the other way around, when I give people for following up and asking how it went, that's probably something.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good, and then Yes, yes. Are they good, right? Did they do a good job? Were they terrible? Because I don't want to keep referring them if they weren't good. And then the people know too, like, oh, you do care, and then they know if they get a good referral too. And it's fun as you start doing that. I have clients who'll call me like, hey, do you know an auto repair guy and stuff? Because now they know that I know people, which is what you want. So anything happens in their life, like, oh, I need to call Susie. Right, that's what we want. That's where we try to get to, because then they're always thinking about us and stuff, and then we're in a position to help them. So, and if I don't know somebody, I know somebody who knows somebody, right? And in the office, we do have a preferred vendor list. So if you don't have a carpet cleaner, we have somebody, they've all been recommended by agents who have used them. So they're going to be, or should be good. Good source. And so we have a pretty good extensive list of different people and stuff. So if you don't have people yet, resource those, and then definitely build out kind of your own contacts and stuff. So that way they'll refer back to you. So yeah, and then remember to get your reviews. Ask your friends and family for a review. And again, it doesn't have to necessarily be, hey, they helped me buy or sell a house. But hey, they're responsive, they're honest, they're hardworking, and get those reviews and kind of get those started. But yeah.
Domain, your website?
I
for
did, yes.
business pages, is that something?
Yes, yes. So on your Google business page, there's a review site. So again, if I send them there, they have to click on that, and then they have to click on, yeah. Yep. So then I just did a domain name, and it's Love, because my last name's Love, right? So love5star.com. And then I linked it to my Google page. So then if you type in love5star.com, you'll get my review page. You can leave me a review. But it goes directly to Google. And then that way it's easy. It's easy to do. Did it come up?
Oh, I didn't search.
Oh,
it.
I thought you were gonna say, I'm
What
like, see if it like
was
popped up easy. You
was
can
it?
see
Love
5 star,
five or
the number 5 star.com.
star singulars.
Uh-huh.
Suzie Love Realtor, hold it.
There you
hold
go.
it on Google Maps. Oh, and the review page. Yeah, here it is.
Yeah. So
5
then
stars.
So then it's easier, right? And I just started that. So I have just like a lot of referral repeat stuff. So I haven't been doing a lot of Google reviews. So it's something that I'm like, all right, I need to start, working on this and stuff. So, and that's an easy way to do it, because then I can just send that, and easy to leave. So yeah. Any other thoughts, questions? Awesome. 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 Okay, you guys are free. Go do your calls, your conversations, your role-playing scripts, right? All that fun stuff. Do you guys have a hard time doing scripts?
You sound very salesy, but
They can't.